Today on Dr. Phil, one incident flushed their dream wedding down the tube.
Ruined weddings.
And I thought everything was going according to plan.
But
You just got stood up.
You know that feeling you get, Dr. Phil, in your gut? Go with that.
plus,
I looked like a monster. I was actually on my way to anaphylactic shock. My throat was closing up.
You had an allergic reaction.
He could have said, maybe you should go hide.
This is going to be a changing day in your life. I know things are tough out there, but we can do this. Here we go. I want you to get excited about your life.
4,
Get ready, C. Let's do it. All right, take a look at this date in the screen. What happened on August 27th, 2005? This is a picture of Carrie and her husband, Mitch. She says their Jewish wedding was officiated by a fake rabbi. Now take a look at this date in the screen. What happened on January 22nd, 2000? This is a picture of Brandy being hauled off on a gurney during her reception. And what happened on December 17th, 2005? Here's a picture of Giselle, who is standing by herself for a reason. Giselle's fiance did not show up for their wedding. And she's backstage because the video of her wedding day, which we're about to see, is just too difficult for her to watch.
My wedding day began probably around 5 a.m. in the morning. It started with me going to get my hair done.
That's my mom.
And then we went to the church.
I'm gonna try to remain as calm and dry as I can because I'm not ruining my mascara. So nobody's crying.
The pastor came in and asked that everyone that was in the back part of the room leave. And I thought, okay, we're gonna have prayer. And he said, sister, he said, we can't find the groom. And I said, what? So the pastor asked me, do you want us to wait longer? Or do you want to just shut it down now? I said, no, we waited long enough. At that moment, I think it really sunk in, like, this man is not showing up. He's not coming. He's gone. My pastor did make an announcement to the crowd.
There will not be a wedding today.
Your parents were there. Your grandma was there. My grandma was there. My great-grandma was there. And how you can just turn around and just act like it's nothing and not even show. That part was, to me, really cold-blooded.
Well, please bring Giselle out to the stage. Have a seat. So, this has been 3.5 years.
Yes, sir.
Since you got stood up at the altar. I mean, it's just, there's no other way to say it, is there?
That's right. That's it.
You just got stood up.
Yes, sir.
What an idiot. I mean, isn't she, I mean, she's just delightful. I'm sorry, he's an idiot. I mean, what I don't get it. Let's just go right to the moment when you realized he wasn't coming.
Right. I was in the back of the church. I was kind of in a little secluded area where my cousin was putting in my veil. And at the time, I wasn't keeping really good track of time because I didn't have on a watch. And I thought everything was going according to plan. And so when my pastor came in and he said, sister, we cannot find the groom, I said in myself, I said, he's not coming. I said it to myself.
The minute he said that, you said he's not coming.
Yeah, because...
Why would that even be in your head?
Because time was running out. It was getting too late. And I had a feeling like, you know that feeling you get, Dr. Phil, in your gut? Go with that. Go with that.
Okay.
Go with that. You got it down?
Well, let's walk through this, because I think people are really interested in this, because it's everybody's nightmare, right?
Sure.
I mean, we know. Here is a timeline of what happened on Giselle's wedding date. 5 a.m., she gets up and showers. 6 a.m., you met the bridesmaids and flower girls at the hair salon. Noon, you called your fiance just to check in, right?
Right.
What'd you say?
I said, hey, how are you doing? He said, I'm doing great. He said, I'm gonna get to the church early because I want to check out the decorations, have prayer with my groomsmen. I said, okay, well, I'll see you there.
Okay, 1 o'clock, returned home to put on your makeup and start foo-fooing. 1:45, you leave for the church. 2 o'clock, you get there. 2:10, you get dressed. Photographers are there. Videographers are taking all the behind-the-scenes shots. Everything's ramping up. You took pictures at 2:30 with the bridal party. 2:50, the veil goes on.
Yeah.
3 o'clock, you're waiting for the wedding to start. 3:30, photographers still taking pictures. 3:45, pastor told Giselle and her parents that her fiance did not arrive. 4:30, you're back at your parents' house
Yes, sir.
with the bridal party.
Right.
And at 7, his mother calls
Right.
and says he's okay,
Right.
and he left the tux hanging on his parents' door.
Yes.
1 o'clock is all over. You went to bed, finishing that day not at all like you thought it was going to be when it started.
Really, really, really different feeling.
Did you have any warning signs here?
Well, you know they say hindsight is 20/20.
Fill us in.
It is.
Yeah.
Of course, now they're warning bells, but at the time when I was going through everything, I thought, okay, I've never been engaged before, nor have I been married before. This is my first rodeo. So I'm thinking, he's getting cold feet. This is a really big decision for both of us. You know, we came from really good families. So I thought, like, you know, fundamentally, the foundation part, I thought it was all there. But there were a few signs now that I look back that I should have paid really, really close attention to that I didn't.
Like what?
Like the fact that he started withdrawing emotionally from me probably a couple of months before the wedding because he said that he had to get his head together.
See, here's a warning sign. You said go with your gut.
Yeah.
Add this one. When people start answering questions that aren't asked, that's a real bad sign.
Okay.
If he starts saying, well, okay, like, yeah, I'm doing fine and I'm going to get to the church early. Well, I didn't ask you when you were coming, but you're bringing it up. And you're going to be there and you're going to pray with the groomsmen. And you're going to do all of this. I mean, there's just a lot. You didn't ask any of those questions. He's just filling in the gaps. Now, your parents are here.
Yes.
Rhonda and Charles, how are y'all doing? You saw these warning signs.
Yeah, I've seen some of the warning signs. One of the signs that I noticed that we had to evacuate our town because a hurricane was coming. And we left our city and went to Austin, Texas, and stayed a couple of days. That couple of days' time, he never called Giselle to check was she okay, when she's coming back or whatever. He never called.
Never checked.
Never checked. And that was one of the red flags to me.
How about you, Mom? Did you see anything that bothered you?
Well, everything bothered me, Dr. Phil, from the beginning. I told my sister, who was the wedding coordinator, I told her, I said, you know, feel like we're planning something that's not going to happen. But my coworker told me
You said that way in advance, didn't you? You
I
said,
did.
I feel like we're planning something that's never going to happen.
Because I felt it. I felt it. And my coworker at school, she told me, Giselle has done everything that you all have asked of her to do. She said, and remember one thing, Giselle is happy. And she was so happy.
In the 4 years since Giselle was stood up at the wedding, she's not been on one single date. Can you imagine such a gorgeous young woman? We're going to get to the bottom of that and get her back in the game when we come back.
Since the day of my wedding, I have not been in that church that I was supposed to be married in. I've not even driven by it. I think people think in the back of their heads that that's the girl that got stood up on her wedding day. How dreadful. I've been through a lot of hell in my life. I'd like to stop living like a 80-year-old widow.
And later,
I was actually on my way to anaphylactic shock. I believe when the ambulance came, my throat was closing up by that time.
Seeing the ambulance, seeing her with an IV and on a gurney made me realize this is the end of our wedding.
After my wedding day, my parents sold my wedding dress to a local dress shop. I ended up trading in the rings, and I got a watch instead. Everyone let me keep my gifts because they said, hey, you did your part. You came to your wedding. Do what you want to do with them. I wanted a good blender, and so I kept 2 of them.
well, today I'm talking to women who all say they experienced what they called disaster weddings. Now, for Giselle, it was a disaster almost wedding because the wedding never took place. She says her fiance just didn't show up. at their wedding, and she hasn't talked to him not one time since. Now, it's 4 years later, and she admits to viewing all men in a negative light. Well, geez, Dad, what do you think here? We're getting thrown under the bus because of this jerk. So you really have a negative attitude about men, right?
Yes, sir, I do.
But you have to know this was not about you. This is about his deficiencies, his inadequacies, his immaturities. You know, it's been said a man's got to know his limitations. You're a college graduate.
Yes, sir.
You're well educated, very successful.
Yes, sir.
What was he doing when you met him?
He was working at a grocery store.
He was working at a grocery store. He wasn't managing it.
No, sir.
He wasn't supervising the stock boys.
No.
He wasn't even a stock boy.
No.
So he was not high up the food chain.
Correct.
At the food mart.
There you go.
Okay, and so here you are, accomplishment-wise, here he is, and that doesn't mean that you have to have a great job to be a great guy, but when you add that to the fact that he lied to you, that he didn't show up, that he hasn't had the courage to look you in the eye and tell you all of those things, maybe you won this thing. Maybe you lost a loser. And maybe, seriously. You know what I'm saying, Dad? Because I've always said the worst thing than being in a bad relationship for like 10 years is being in a bad relationship for 10 years in one day. You found out before you got started.
It's true.
Now, it'd have been better if you found out before you drove down to church.
Yes, sir.
Before you spent all of this, what, 30, 40 grand?
38.
Yes.
On this wedding?
Yes.
I mean, this was a blowout.
Yes, sir.
This was a blowout. And that's tragic, but you may have dodged a bullet here. Do you get that? I mean, look at this. 2 wedding dresses, 2 tiaras, 10 bridesmaids, 10. 4 junior bridesmaids, 3 flower girls, 3 ministers, 1 to pray, 1 for scripture, and 1 to marry you. 2 photographers, 2 videographers, I mean, horse and carriage. I mean, you guys blew this out. And he didn't even show up. He knew all the plans, right?
Yes.
He knew the money was being spent. He knew what all was going on, and he didn't step up and tell you the truth before all of this was incurred. So you may have really dodged a bullet here. I mean, that's the good news. There's a silver lining to every cloud. I'm not saying it's good that this happened to you, because it isn't. But look, it's just ice sculptures, bubbles, reception, DJ.
Open bar.
Mom, you remember when we got married?
Yes, barely. It's been so long.
Yeah, what'd your wedding dress cost?
Oh, it was $99, and I had to put it in layaway and pay out the $99.
Yeah, you did. You'd go by and pay $5,
$5.
$10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to get it. I mean, so this was a big deal.
Yes, sir.
But do you think maybe you dodged a bullet?
Oh, yes, now, big time.
Yeah, because here's the thing. What you've got to do is the only reason that you continue to be raw about this and continue to have this negative attitude about men is because you have unfinished emotional business. This is still churning. You're trying to make sense out of nonsense. You can't. I mean, it's nonsense what he did. It's immature. It's every negative that you could apply to a choice that somebody made. And at some point, you have to realize you're still locked in with him. You're not over him. You're not through with him. You may be through with him emotionally. You may not love him. You may not care about him at this point. But he still has you locked up. He is controlling you as you sit here today. You're sitting on the sidelines, and you are a delightful young woman. I mean, there's somebody out there that is going to do it for you. And you may have walked past him 100 times in the last 4 years because you've got yourself on negative filter. You've got to forgive, you've got to forget, and you've got to choose to get back in the game. Don't you think?
I think. I know.
Yeah, you got to choose. And this time, he's going to have to convince everybody.
He's got a hard job ahead of him.
He's got a hard job. He's going to have to convince Dad. Mom may rain on the parade.
That's right.
And I want to meet him.
Okay.
Yeah. You get him, you say, yeah. He says, will you marry me? Oh, well, we're going to go to the Dr. Phil show and find out what we're going to do. Now, If he'll do that, that's a good sign.
Okay,
But, you know, you've got to give yourself permission to get back in this game, don't you?
I do.
Let me help you with that.
Okay.
All right, I've asked a friend to come here. Her name is April Beyer. She's the founder of Beyer and Company. It's a personal matchmaking and relationship consulting firm. She is the best of the best. You may have seen her on the show before. And this is April right here.
Hi, Giselle.
Yeah. April, is this not a delightful client?
Delightful. I mean, you are the woman that I look for. You're beautiful, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're savvy, you've got a lot of heart, you're feminine. Along with being a really bright woman, you also have your femininity. Yes, you are the kind of woman that men seek out, but men do need to feel like they can be successful with you. So if you're not allowing them to be successful with you and you're challenging everything that they say to you on a date, you're not going to get to the one.
Yeah, now, listen, she is a real pro at this, and she has agreed that she is going to work with you. She has this, and this may sound kind of mechanical, but I have to tell you, in this day and time, it's good to do some pre-research on people's screens. Some people know who you're talking about, and she's going to help you with that. And she's going to do this. She's going to take like 6 months and coach you through this process and help you screen and look and all for the right people. And I mean, and she is top notch in this. So will you get back in the game? If she'll help you with this?
You got it.
All right. All right. So you and I have a plan.
We got it.
All right. Coming up, a woman who says she still can't get over being strapped to a gurney and taken to the hospital on her wedding day. 9, count them, 9 years ago. She's not over it yet.
Things started going downhill after the third dance. My eyes were starting to swell up. My nose was huge, my lips were huge, even my ears were swollen. I think I looked like a monster.
All right, we're talking about what happens when the bride feels that she had the wedding from hell, but the groom, well, he just doesn't exactly agree. When Brandy got married 9 years ago, she says she was center stage with all eyes on her, with lights flashing, but not for the reason you may think.
The whole day started off wrong. I woke up late, got my period. My brother went to pick up his tux and they gave him the wrong vest. Then I got lipstick on my gown. That was just the start of it. Things started going downhill after the third dance. I started sneezing. And I sneezed more than I ever had, I think, ever in my life. So as soon as the dance was done, I ran into the bridal suite and looked at myself in the mirror, and I was horrified. I think I looked like a monster. My nose was huge, my lips were huge, even my ears were swollen. When I went out and told Robert that I was really worried that I was having an allergic reaction to something and that my eyes were swelling up, he said, "No, Bran, you look beautiful."
Well, Brandy's husband, Robert, now admits that he lied. He just lied. But come on, what are you supposed to say when your wife asks you, "How do I look?" Take a look.
When a bride on her wedding day asks you how she looks, your response should always be, "You look beautiful." What other answer am I going to give her? Even though I might have noticed a little bit of swelling, I didn't want her to know that.
Well, as Brandy's eyes, ears, and throat started to swell, things took a turn for the worse.
I've had an allergic reaction before, but never on that scale.
Well, my first response when I walked in and I saw Brandy's condition, I asked, did anyone give her Benadryl? Everyone said, we've given her too much already.
I was feeling pretty awful at that point. I was actually on my way to anaphylactic shock. I believe when the ambulance came, my throat was closing up by that time. It was really difficult. Seeing the ambulance, seeing her with an IV and on a gurney made me realize this is the end of our wedding. I think the worst part about having a wedding like the one we had is that there's no way to go back and redo it, really. That is your one shot at having
your wedding, it's very tough to move past it.
I always dreamed about my wedding day. I never thought it would turn out with me looking like a monster.
Well, Brandy's mother, Tessa, says the unfortunate incident could have been easily avoided.
When they decided to get married on January 22nd, Brandy was basically doomed.
My mom told us that January was a really bad idea.
There was a lunar eclipse, and it was very powerful in Brandy's chart.
Tessa did explain something about the moons being aligned with Jupiter.
Rob was not about to budge an inch. He was dead set on getting married that month.
I figured we would take our chances.
Just before she was cutting her cake, she told me to look at her. Her eyes were getting funny, and she was itchy already. I was thinking, Brandy, why? I told you maybe you'll listen to me next time.
I definitely look back and think I wish I had listened to my mom.
In hindsight, I definitely should have listened to her.
Now, I think they've seen the light.
Okay, so this didn't go well,
No.
okay? But it's been 9 years,
Yes, it
okay?
has.
You think she should get over this?
I do. It was one day, it was our wedding day, and, you know, we have the rest of our lives. We're happily married after 9 years.
Yeah, true?
Yes, yes.
So this didn't go well. You had an allergic reaction.
Big allergic reaction.
I mean, worse things have happened.
Yes.
I mean, you agree. I'm not trying to minimize or trivialize this, but you made a beautiful bride. I mean, seriously. Okay, but go ahead.
Well, I didn't get to say goodbye to my guests. The wedding got cut short, or the reception got cut short. We didn't get to dance, but the 3 beginning dances, my guests didn't even really know what was going on. Didn't get to throw the bouquet, didn't get to do the garter. I mean, just the simple little things that you
dream about.
You dream about. I mean, they're just stupid, I know, but...
No, they're not stupid.
But then everybody, almost everybody, but maybe 10 people saw me. And the photographer even got a picture. I mean... You know,
saw you having
yes.
saw you having an allergic reaction?
Yeah, I saw...
Well, you didn't do anything wrong. I mean, you don't think they're, like, mad at you or have
no
post-traumatic stress disorder or anything from seeing you?
No, but I look scary, and that's not the worst of it. That is the beginning of it.
Right. It got worse because your lips and even your ears were swollen up.
This part of my ear was fat.
Yeah.
Fat.
Yeah. Yeah, and you did, when you're a little girl, you don't dream about fat ears on your wedding day. I mean, you don't. I mean, that's not what you do. And to be honest, you're mad at him for lying to you. Come on, give the guy a break. What's he supposed to say? Because at the time you asked him, you didn't have fat ears yet. You were starting to fuzz up.
Right, but still, he could have said, well, you know, maybe you should go hide.
Yeah, that would have worked. Yeah, we wouldn't be sitting here 9 years later if he'd have said that. All right, Brandy's mother, Tessa, is here, and she says the astrological signs pointed to no for this wedding day and time. We'll be right back.
As a matter of fact, I did your chart.
Really?
Your chart has this healing energy that is so powerful. It's all you want to do. It's like you want to run around and heal everybody. Oh, let me go heal them. That's how you are.
Healed! And later...
The flowers were wrong. The chuppah was wrong. The rabbi was an impersonator, and he was really a reverend, just like a rabbi.
When I think about my wedding now, I'm horrified.
Brandy still does not like to look at our wedding photos or our wedding video.
Robert feels that I need to look at our wedding day with happy memories. I don't know if that's possible.
Well, the women I'm talking to today all say that one incident flushed their dream wedding down the tubes. Now, I'm here with Brandy, who says an allergic reaction caused her to have to call an ambulance, be strapped to a gurney, and driven to the closest hospital. Now, Brandy's husband, Robert, says he fears she may secretly feel that this incident means that the marriage is doomed. Now, And listen, that's not, you already got the look. When I said he said that, she went. See what I mean? You got to choose your words carefully. But there's an old saying, what I fear, I create. And if you look at this as such a marred event, it doesn't speak well for, I mean, it's a bad start, right?
No, I mean, it was a bad day, and it's hard for me to relive that day. But I love him.
Now, Tessa, this is your mother.
Yes.
You said the astrological signs were all no?
It was horrible. There was a lunar eclipse just the day before the wedding date. And a lunar eclipse is usually, it's a full moon. So if you know anything about hospitals and police departments, they all can verify that. That's a lot of negative energy that happens on that day. So, and it was aspecting her ascendant, what is called her ascendant. It's the moment she was born. And therefore, it was affecting her wherever she was. And she just so happened to be at this home, where she had the wedding. So that's where the reaction was going to happen. It wouldn't happen at her home. It was going to happen at that place.
You knew all that from...
Oh, there's just so much you can tell. When I use asteroids and trans-Neptunian planets, and I'm a Uranian astrologer, so I just use everything.
Yeah. I thought maybe she just ate some shellfish or something. I don't know. Do you believe in all the astrological machinations?
I look at my horoscope. That's about the extent of it. I don't plan my day around it.
That's not the extent of it. You always ask me questions. I look everything up.
I do take that as advice.
Financial.
But got a rock and a hard place here, Dr. Phil.
Enough said. I got you.
She's very accurate.
You're right.
She is a very accurate astrologer.
He meant to say he looks at his horoscope.
Yeah.
That's right.
And he asked you to look things up. And
he better clear this right now.
Yeah.
She's accurate.
No, we got you on that. Okay, but how are the stars for them being here today?
As a matter of fact, I did your chart.
Really?
It's public knowledge. I didn't, do anything.
No, that's okay. Give me the short version.
Well, I mean, it's just amazing because your chart has this healing energy that is so powerful. It's all you want to do. It's like you want to run around and heal everybody. Oh, let me go heal them. That's how you are. And they have all these planets that are conjunct, which are aspecting. I'm sorry, it's hard to talk layman's terms.
Yeah.
But anyway, you
healed. Okay. So, good?
I'm all better now. Thanks.
All right, good. No, I get what you're saying, and y'all are good sports about this, and you need to be because people are going to make fun of you. No, I'm just kidding. A lot of people take this very seriously, and I don't judge that at all. What I do say to you is there really comes a time when you say it's about a choice. I choose to accept this for what it was. I mean, you've got to admit that despite that it wasn't what you dreamed about, this was an adventure. Your wedding sticks out. It's something that is different from so many other weddings.
We have a good story to tell.
You've got a great story to tell. You're on national television telling it. I mean, the thing that I hated is that you missed your reception. And since she missed part of her reception, we contacted the Radisson Newport Beach, and they have decided to set Brandy and Robert up for a party for 50 of her closest wedding guests. They're going to, this is a beautiful Newport Beach. They want to set up the venue, the food, the beverage, everything for you at the Radisson Newport so you can have these people in. Maybe I'll give you a DVD of this. You can have a viewing of the show today. And you can capture maybe just a moment to help get closure on the part of that reception that you didn't get to see.
Thank you, Dr. Phil.
Okay?
That's amazing.
All right. All right, next we're going to meet a woman who only spent 24 hours planning her wedding. She wonders why it was a complete disaster. We'll be right back.
My wedding was supposed to be the most perfect wedding, and it was everything but perfect. The rabbi was an impersonator. The limo disappeared with all of our personal stuff in the trunk that got stolen. The cake came out frozen. The whole thing was a disaster from beginning to end. It was a true nightmare.
A woman being stood up on her wedding day. Ambulance workers placing another woman on a gurney. These are obviously not the experiences brides strive for. They're not what they dream about when they're planning their wedding. But today's guests say not only did their fiascos happen, they're still not over the bad experience. Now, Carrie says she thought, where can I get married within 24 hours and have fun? Vegas, baby. But things didn't go exactly according to her plan.
My wedding was supposed to be the most perfect wedding, and it was everything but. The flowers were wrong. The chuppah was wrong. The rabbi was an impersonator, and he was really a reverend, dressed like a rabbi. Couldn't speak Hebrew. It wasn't a Jewish ceremony. The limo disappeared after the ceremony was over with all of our stuff, personal stuff in the trunk that got stolen. We get to the reception. The food was horrid. They served Mitch and myself last. They were supposed to play our first song. They didn't. The cake came out frozen, tasted like butter. I mean, it was disgusting. It was a true nightmare.
Well, Carrie says she gets no sympathy from her husband, Mitch, who admits to saying, look, get over it. Give me a break when she complains about their wedding day.
My wedding was great. My wife still can't get over the issues. She was pretty upset about the whole situation. Is she overreacting 4 years later? Absolutely. It's time to move on. We have too many good things working in our lives to worry about that one day. When she brings up these issues, I'm like, can you just move on with it?
Well, Carrie's mother, Judy, says there's no denying that the wedding was straight out of a scene from Candid Camera.
After the service, I asked Carrie if that was really a rabbi officiating, and she looked at me and she had tears in her eyes. My husband was very disappointed. He felt that he was deceived. In the reception, the steak was frozen inside and the fish was very fishy. I looked around. I really thought we were on Candid Camera, and they wanted to see my reaction.
Okay, well, Carrie, Mitch, and Judy are here today. So I wanted to ask Carrie, you planned this in 24 hours, so did y'all just meet, or how did this happen?
Being an event planner, I knew what I was doing.
Okay, so you do this for a living.
I do.
This is a list of what she says were the mishaps. The rabbi was really a reverend who just dressed like a rabbi?
That's right.
Who does that?
Only in Vegas.
Only in Vegas.
What did he say when you said, are you not really a rabbi?
He was signing our marriage certificate, and when I read the word R-E-V, I wondered what that meant, and he said, oh, I'm a reverend, not a rabbi. And we found that out as we were signing our marriage certificate.
Okay, only one of two planned wedding songs got played. The limo disappeared with the clothes, shoes, purses, party favors, bridal party gifts, and camera. You said the food at the reception was cold and undercooked. The waitress scolded your stepdaughter?
Yeah.
Okay. Menus were not put on the table. Cake was frozen, tasted like a stick of butter, and there was no music at the reception. Wow. It just went smooth as a baby's butt. All right, coming up, we're going to find out what happened when Carrie oversaw someone else's wedding. That bride's here to tell us how she did on hers. I want to thank all of my guests, including dating expert April Beyer. Really, guys, thanks for being here. So long.